first video with the new channel name. It's going to be Rim Racing now. So if you're interested in watching my videos, just remember that it's now just Rim Racing, R-I-M Racing. Today we're working on the first gen. We got an Air Dog lift pump for it. It's a Raptor Series 100 gallon per hour. So yeah, I'm just gonna make a little video for you guys, show you guys me putting this thing on. I've never done this before. I'm just gonna be reading the directions, but I know that the first thing that we're gonna do before even touching the pump is we gotta take that factory lift pump off down in there. It's gonna be a bolt on each side, and we're gonna have to take off those fuel lines. So I'll get back to you whenever I get the block off plate back on there. Alright, so I got the factory lift pump off of there, and it looks like there might be a little bit of gasket maker on there or something. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape that off. And I've got a little block off plate right here. Just gotta make sure we use the factory bolts. I got this from Diesel Auto Power. Make sure we put that gasket on there. And yeah, just make sure you don't knock a bunch of stuff down in there, because that's the inside of your motor right there. And there's a little hose that runs up there to the top. Let me see if I can get some light up in there. There's a little hole right down there. There's a metal hose type thing that goes up there, and then there's a fuel line down here. There it is. There's a fuel line down here. You just press these tongs in right here, and then it just pops right out real easily. So yeah, got the lift pump off, and the block off plate is on there, and yeah. So I just scraped off what I could of that factory gasket, and then the new one came with the gasket. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and dive into these directions. I'm not real sure. I guess the final fuel line that goes into the fuel filter. Hopefully this pump comes with whatever goes in there. I'm gonna see about that in the directions. But yeah, so I still have this little bolt right here that goes into the top of the fuel pump, or the fuel filter, my bad. So yeah, I'm gonna dive in, and then I'll let you guys know what the next step is. First thing it wanted us to do was to go ahead and put these fittings on the pump. First one you're gonna do is the in fitting. It's gonna be like the biggest fitting. It's got all these crazy numbers on there. The fittings aren't labeled, but they're all different, so you can just see which one will thread into there. Then it wanted us to use, that one's a 7/8 socket, and torque it to 15 pounds. And then on the out right here, that one's gonna be a 3/4 deep socket. Make sure you're using deep sockets so that you can put a torque wrench on it. And then that one's 10 foot-pounds. So yeah, I got these things in there. Of course, hand tighten them first so you don't cross thread it. And be careful at your workstation. I'm using a little seat, but these things are pre-lubricated, so there's gonna be some oil in there. What I wanted us to do was to go ahead and mount this pump onto the mounting bracket. So I got that done. It's gonna be just 4 Allens, and then you gotta make sure you put that block right there so that the bolts are pretty long. And then I'm just gonna go under the truck, and it says just there's a few different spots that you have the options to mount it. Here's a spot right there, so I'm gonna go see if I can find wherever that spot is. There's a factory fuel rail mounting bracket or something right here from the factory. It says you could cut that off if you need to use that spot. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what I do down there after I have it mounted. By the way, guys, I forgot to mention, this is not a 100 gallons per hour. This is actually 150. They're probably the same thing. If you bought the 100 one, they're probably pretty much the same, but the directions seem to be pretty great. They have all kinds of pictures, and they're very informal. They even tell you the sizes and stuff, so it's pretty great. But here's the fuel regulator. You can actually turn that up if you want, but I'm probably just gonna leave it how it is unless my truck starts acting like it's starving for fuel, then I'll probably mess with it. But it goes up to 75 psi, but you really shouldn't need that much unless you're going full on race truck. So I believe I found my about the only mounting option I've got. I really can't find any holes side by side anywhere, but you know, it says in the directions you're supposed to be able to mount them pretty easily, but that's about the only spot I can find. So I guess I'm going to do it upside down, then I have 2 clamping bolts down here on the bottom. This spot is just a little like spot for this right here. Holds the fuel line, but it doesn't really need it. I mean, the fuel line, you know, might be. I'm not real sure what that line is actually. Some type of maybe return line. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna need that line or not. But so I'm just gonna take that off, and I do need to drill this hole out a little bit because this doesn't fit. But yeah, so I'll let you guys know once I got that pump mounted. I actually ended up taking the pump off the bracket so I could just hold it up there and be a lot easier. So I got this thing mounted up down here. The original hole that I drilled out or bored out a little bit was right there, but it actually ended up not working because there's a bracket on the other side of it. You have to be able to put a sandwich plate on the back side. So just got 1 hole on top, and then the 2 on the bottom. That should be enough. I don't think it's really gonna go anywhere. But yeah, so that's the problem right there. That was on the back side, so I couldn't put that sandwich plate on it. And so I guess it's time to move on to just some fuel lines. So I'll let you guys know what I do next. Thank you. So I found out that that fitting went in right there where I was telling you guys about earlier that I wasn't sure about, but yeah, so it just goes right into there. That's the oil feed for the filter. And I did have a problem. The throttle assembly was too high up, and so if I left it right there, you wouldn't be able to clamp the fuel line onto there. But so what I did was, this one's in the normal hole, and then this one right here, I pretty much just slid it down and didn't put it in the correct hole. I just put a washer on there so that it holds on to it right there. And yeah, so I got in the truck and made sure the throttle still works. Everything still works all right. You know, you can still use this thing. Still got the little bit of play right there. But yeah, so now it's time to go ahead and put all this fuel line on. So I'll get back to you guys when that's done. Still gotta figure out how it's gonna connect to the top of the fuel tank, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get the line from this filter to the pump on there. The directions said to put a little bit of motor oil on this thing whenever you're putting it into the fuel line, so it's just like a little bit of lubricant to slide in. Yeah, it takes a lot of force to get these things into there. So I'm just gonna fuel line on there from the pump to the filter. And so basically what you're gonna do, the best way to do it is just slide that all the hose you have all the way down in there. Go ahead and put the clip on the top of the fuel line, clip it in to the top of the fuel filter, and then take a Sharpie down there and just mark where you need to cut it, then pull it all out, cut it, slide the clip in, clip it in down there, and then so yeah, that's all you're gonna do. And so now I'm gonna move on to the top of the fuel tank.
I got this fuel line connected. It's gonna be the right one. It's gonna be the slightly bigger one. It was a major pain in the butt. It's just so tight up in there. And then whenever you get that thing popped off, you're gonna have to get this little snap ring right here out. You just kind of just break it out, and then put the smallest fitting you have for this hose. You're gonna use the smallest one, and then you clip that in, and then you're gonna go over there and clip this in, and then it'll be time for wiring. So yeah, that was probably the hardest part of this whole thing right there. It's just so tight up in here. But there's basically it's in there just like that. You're gonna try to get your fingers back in there and just pull these in.
Actually, I pried it out. I pried it
and
out.
then pull it on. No, I'm talking about whenever you take off the fuel.
Oh, we take it off, yeah.
And then you pretty much just pry it out.
I'm done wiring everything. I just wired everything up to a switch. Whenever you're done with all that, you're gonna wanna there's a screw right here, right there. You're gonna crack that and turn on the pump and let it bleed. And you can wire it to your fuse box if you want, but I decided not to. I just wired it to a little switch. You can hear it turn on. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, share, turn on those post notifications so that you can see whenever I upload a video. I think I'm gonna start making some dirt bike videos, so just let me know if you guys would want to see that. And so yeah, y'all have a great night or day.